started walking faster. If someone was hurt and needed help, I needed to reach them before nightfall. It didn't take long for a lone figure to come into view. It was a woman sitting on a rock. She looked out of place in the woods, wearing a white blouse and a dark gray pencil skirt. Her hair was tied back into a tight bun. She must be freezing in that ensemble. Even though it wasn't quite winter, there was already a bitter chill in the air, and it would only get worse with nightfall. I stepped closer, slowly. Her face was covered completely by her hands, but I knew the sound of the sobbing was coming from her. "Ma'am," I called. "Are you okay?" She startled at the sound of my voice and jumped to her feet, looking around wildly. I held up my hands in peace. "Easy," I said slowly, as if I was talking to a cornered animal. "It's okay." I took a step closer to her. "I just want to help." The woman looked at me, wide-eyed. I don't know where I am," she said. "I don't know how I'm going to get back to town." I looked down at her feet, dressed in tight dress shoes. No matter what, she wasn't getting back to town on foot. Her feet could end up with some pretty bad cuts on this terrain, and Knoxville was over a mile away. Had she walked all that way by herself? "My cabin isn't far from here," I said. "How about we go there, and you can tell me what happened?" It didn't take a genius to realize she was in some sort of trouble. A pretty woman dressed up for the office doesn't exactly go out and get lost in the woods for fun. She looked uncertain, and for a second I thought she was going to turn and run. But then she nodded slowly, a look of resignation washing over her face. Good girl. I would hate to chase her through the woods, but that's what I would have to do if she ran. I wasn't going to let herself get killed out there. Running blindly into the woods at sundown was practically a death sentence. "I'm Lucas," I said. "Lindsey," she said, her voice shaky. She wrapped her arms around herself and shivered slightly. I wished I had a coat or something to give her, but all I was wearing was a flannel shirt that was covered in sweat and dirt after a hard day's work. Hardly something suitable for a woman like her to wear. "Let's get to my cabin," I said. "You can warm up and relax a little there." "Thank you," she said. I nodded. "Of course." I led her through the woods to my home. The more I looked at her, the more concerned I felt. Her face was covered in tears, and she was trembling. I knew it wasn't just from the chill in the air. She was also scared out of her mind. Had someone taken her into the woods and tried to hurt her? Was she running from something? I had way too many questions, but the first thing I needed to do was get her to safety. When we reached my cabin, I held open the door. "Have a seat on the couch," I said. "I'll get you the first aid kit." My cabin was small but cozy enough. There was a combined kitchen and living room. The living room had a couple of comfortable leather couches and a fireplace. One of the couches had a patchwork quilt draped over the side. Lindsey kicked off her shoes and limped over to that couch. She wrapped the quilt around herself while she shivered. I opened up the cupboard underneath my kitchen sink and pulled out a small first aid kit. While I was there, I filled up a tea kettle and put it on the stove. The sooner she could warm up, the better. Going back into the living room, I handed her the first aid kit. "Here," I said. "Clean up and bandage your feet. I'll get a fire started to warm you up in no time." Lindsey nodded and took the kit, but she couldn't even look at me. I couldn't even imagine what she was thinking right now. She was practically trapped with a stranger in the middle of the woods. It had to be terrifying, not to mention whatever she had just been through. "It's okay," I whispered. "I'm going to help you. I want to help you."